BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello pod fans, Fiona Bruce here. I'll be back later on with something to put Crouchy under a great deal of pressure. Honestly, you don't want to miss what I've got in store for him. But as he's asked me to do the language warning, here it goes. The following podcast contains adult themes, some naughty words, and signals the start of a fifth series of what can only be described as a bit of a shambles.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
We've just broken down the technicalities of picking balls out of a bowl.
I'll give you the option now, Crouchy, that you could live to 100. Would you go for it?
Make my way downtown, just and homebound.
Vanessa Carlton!
Bex has sent you a message. Ed Sheeran's written you a song, but Mr. Islam said happy birthday. That's the real win.
Vanuatu, 166th in the world.
God, who do I go with this?
You're going to have to say something quickly.
Welcome to another episode of That Peter Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch. Chris Stark and Tom Fordyce are with me as usual. Here we go, fifth series, back stronger, boys.
Here we go, Chrissy.
Yeah, it's been so long and I've missed you both, and everyone keeps saying to me, when are you coming back with a podcast? When are you coming back with a podcast? And I'm just really pleased that we could do this. Crouchy, how's it for you?
Just whatever I do on TV, wherever I am, it's like, just bring the podcast back. Stop dicking around. So here we are. And Fiona Bruce is a part of it as well, which is...
That was a nice touch.
Lovely touch. Nice surprise.
She's become a sort of podcast friend.
She was part, Chris, of one of the great WhatsApp groups of all time, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
It was. There was a big Christmas flurry of text messages in that group.
I'm pleased we got the normal music back on this as well, because I feel like everyone's sort of looking for familiar stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the old music. I know we needed to change something for the first lockdown series, but look, we can all remember it. Bum 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 bum.
I thought it was shocking, if I was honest. I didn't
You
like
hated
it at all. I did. I hated it right from the get go. So we're back. Listen, we're back to basics. And we're back, and I'm so pleased because it's just so nice it's a nice break for me as well.
Just to Boys, have you got beverages, by the way? Have you got yourself what have you gone for, Chris?
I've just gone for normal beer, but I can see you're preparing a lout over there, Tom. Am I right?
Have you got a lout?
I haven't had one since we last chatted because it felt a bit weird having a lout on my own.
I've had lots of people tweeting me and stuff saying They're enjoying louts and lockdown louts.
Lockdown louts, yeah.
Absolutely delightful. One of the great beverages, the lout.
Bit too much lager in that, I'd say, Tom.
Yeah, I've overdone the la.
Not as much
underdone the oot. Yeah, I've underrooted it.
Do you reckon when the pubs are open, louts will be standard, like draft laut?
I wonder if there could be some sort of government slogan around the laut.
Help out, lout out. You know, like...
Yeah, you're right.
Help out, loat out.
Yeah.
That's punchier.
But I think for this first podcast, we do need to look back over the last few months a little bit, because I'm sort of intrigued to know what you boys have been up to. I've seen some of the stuff you've been doing, Crouchy. I saw you do the FA Cup draw and stuff like that. We need to chat about that.
Yes, we do.
I had to do the Rod Stewart on the cup draw. Do you know how nervous I don't think I've ever been so nervous in all my life.
It was beautiful to watch, Chris, wasn't it? Like, we'd texted each other, when we knew Crouchy was going on, and we were hoping for the Rod Stewart. I mean, I think I'd be lying if we were certain we'd see the Rod Stewart.
I piled on the pressure. I started messaging him because I was like, you can't miss this. You can't miss this opportunity. There's too many people who listen to this podcast. Like, you had to do the Rod. And then this was great, Tom. I need to play you this. And I want to play this to everyone listening because this is great. So I called Crouchy out and he sent me this voice note just before he went on TV.
I don't think I've ever been this nervous, even before big games. This is the most nervous I've ever been. Chris has called me out and wants me to go full Rod. But as I've been walking around, there's people from the FA here, there's security for the cup. None of them know that I'm going to go full Rod Stewart on the first ball. This cup draw is a serious business. If I get sacked because of my actions, I think it's worth it. I don't think I'd be able to look myself in the mirror if I didn't go full Rod.
I just love the nerves.
I'm in turmoil there, absolute turmoil. The cup draw, I find it fascinating. It's like, until maybe you're in it, you don't really think about it too much if maybe if you're not drawing the balls out, but I was drawing them out and I was thinking, I'm literally sending people to places.
Yeah.
Like every game, sort of the fourth and the fifth round that I was watching, I was thinking, I did that,
It's a bit like you're playing like an FA god. Like you have dictated the future of quite a few people.
Klopp was really pissed off, wasn't he?
I do think there's a lot of people that think some balls are heavier, some balls are warmer.
This is what I want to ask you. Let's talk ball tampering. Yeah, let's go.
I can't actually believe that that so many people still believe there's some sort of agenda against their club, and so many clubs do think that.
Can I read you a tweet?
Yeah.
This is from Darren. Is it just me, or does he just grab the first ball, keeps hold of it, and then just wiggles his hand around? Peter Crouch, can you answer this? And I'm looking at the video now. You do the Rod Stewart straight in, grab a ball, but then you just sort of wiggle the hand around. You don't rummage the balls.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but I do that. I go straight in because I'm so concentrated on doing a correct Rod Stewart that I actually forget what I'm even doing. So I grab the first ball and then I know I've got to shake them around, so I do that and then I do pull it out, but I have no idea what that ball is.
It was almost like you were worried, Crouchy, that you weren't going to be able to get your hands on a ball. Like that if you left it more than the initial plunge, then you'd find yourself somehow unable to grab one.
The worst thing is actually putting the balls into the, whatever that's called.
The bowl?
The bowl thing, yeah. A ball could come loose or go on the floor or something like that. You've got to do the whole draw again.
So did you have to rehearse doing that?
Yeah. In rehearsal, I drew out Man City, Man United. Don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but...
Why not? It's not a real... What's wrong with that? It's not a real draw, is it?
No, I'm just telling you. I've said it anyway. I mean, I did. I drew out a Manchester. That was the biggest game.
If you'd wanted to fix it, do you think you've got sensitive enough fingertips that you could feel a certain number?
Let us know. How do you rig the FA Cup draw?
Well, the ones, obviously, the big teams that they want to stay in the draw, they're all hotter. So they heat them up beforehand.
That's how it works.
So warm the balls and then you feel around.
The hotter the ball, the higher they are in the odds, is it? So like the favourite is the hottest ball. Yeah. So it's a big team. Just to clarify, there is no rigging.
It's a big honour, that, isn't it?
The FA Cup meant, it means so much to me. It means so much to these clubs. I think if it looks like I was dicking around too much, then I didn't want it to come across like that. So I thought, right, just get this right now.
I wondered how this works. Like you've produced a cracking draw. Does this mean you're going to be in demand for doing future cup draws and you might get the chance of promotion? So would you get a shout, for example, from Gianni Infantino? Next World Cup group stages, we need Crouchy.
Just a start for me, isn't it? I'm going to go on to bigger and better things.
It's a stepping stone, and I think that's the way you have to look at it. You're an ambitious man. You've proven this yourself on a big occasion, live television. You've done the Rod. Who else? What else are they looking for? What else is Gianni Infantino looking for?
I felt like I brought everything to that draw. The humour with the Rod, the professional drawing.
Great games.
That's pretty much all
Big
you can
ties.
do, really.
Tricky job, isn't it, Crouchy? I love we've just broken down the technicalities of picking balls out of a bowl and tried to describe it as not. Yeah, only you could have done that, Crouchy.
This pod has done many things. Chris, how proud would we feel if the next World Cup draw, Crouchy walks out?
You're going to have to do the Rod every time now, and there's going to come a point where it's going to feel like this weird tribute to Rod. Yeah, you are. The
Rod's done now.
No, it's not.
No, it's yours. It's yours. It's not Rod's. It's yours.
It's yours.
No. I've done my tribute. Let's all move on. Let's have a load and calm down.
All right then.
Right, that's enough about me, lads. What have you been up to during this lockdown period or this hiatus from the pod?
Wednesday appointed a man who, Crouchy, you know really well, and who we've had as a guest on the pod. And I'm super excited to discuss with you boys the arrival of Tony Pulis at Wednesday. But we've been away so long that Pulis has been and gone.
It was a ghost Pulis.
It was a ghost Pulis.
Annoying. I think Watford have had about 5 managers in the last 6 months.
They're going all right, aren't they?
Yeah, going all right. We're in the Championship, so it's different this season. But no VAR, that's lovely.
Because, Chris, you can commit to it, can't you? Like the whole point of being a fan is to give yourself totally to a goal when it goes in for your team. That, for me, is the main problem with VAR. It's not the sort of technicalities of it. It's just the emotions of it. Like it strips away the single best thing about football, which is going completely nuts when your team scores.
If VAR was about in your time, we might not have had the robot. Because think about it. if it went to a VAR decision and then you had to wait and then you do the celebration afterwards, it doesn't really work, does it?
There's no way I would have pulled it. I would have done the robot. Because imagine how, I looked like a complete imbecile anyway, even when I was, but imagine I did it and it was ruled out.
We're at risk here of the footballer's celebration being killed off. So do we want to encourage a situation where if VAR's here, that's a different debate, right? That's for other podcasts. But after the VAR decision is, if a goal is given, you are then given 15 seconds of music or something like that to celebrate. And
have you seen anyone do an actual, a proper rehearsed celebration after a VAR decision?
the fishing rod.
After 3 minutes of VAR, shirt off straight after.
Chris, what have you been up to?
I've been doing kind of the samey situation. I mean, I feel like it wasn't that long ago. We were in the last lockdown and we were talking about homeschooling. I'm intrigued to know where you're at with that, Crouchy.
Not great. We realised that they were doing the bare minimum and getting away with it with me. So Miss Trunchbull had to get involved and take the reins. My Miss Honey approach, it was not proven to be, she weren't getting the work done, let's be honest. So Ab's come in, they're doing much better now.
Can I just officially raise my loud glass to your Matilda Roald Dahl references there, which I'm hugely impressed by.
Big fans of Matilda in this house.
You see, homeschooling, I think for us is kind of like, we don't really do the heavy lifting on it. So sport, homeschooling is all good. Music, I do quite well at as well. So I've been trying to teach my little girl all about music that I like. And I put a little keyboard piano thing in the corner of the kitchen. And I've started to teach myself stuff so I can teach her to play along. And what she does is she listens to the songs on the speaker and then she just plays notes along. And they're all the wrong notes, but either way, it looks quite cute.
What are you teaching her? What songs have you teaching her?
Well, there's not that many because obviously I'm not very good at the piano, but do you remember Vanessa Carlton? It's a song 1,000 Miles. And it's
making my way downtown.
Making my way downtown.
Is that the one where she's on the back of a lorry or she's on some weird piano car or something?
Yeah, it's where the piano's a car. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll play it to you.
If I could play one tune I'd love to play Vanessa Carlton.
Would you?
It sounds like a strange one, but walked through the lobby in Vegas the first time I went there, and it was always playing. It was number one at the time. That's good. Yeah. Making my way downtown.
Easiest lesson in the world, right, is just play music you like. There's a how-to on anything on YouTube, right? So I went and did that because think about it, I've learned that bit of music. Now I look like a professional piano player. It's mad, isn't it? Because you can just learn a little bit, and then you sound like you know what you're doing. Like,
Crouchy, you've got a grand piano in your house, haven't you, Chris? How long did it take you to learn Carlton there? Carlton. So I want to say Carlton, Vanessa Carlton, like Graham Taylor.
I did. I was working
Vanessa
on that.
Carlton Palmer.
Yeah, Carlton, Vanessa Carlton.
I mean, it was a good few days' work that was for me to learn that bit of it.
I'd love to learn that.
Could you go in 10 weeks from not being able to play the piano at all to Carlton?
I would love to. I'd love to. Can you teach me, Chris, or shall I?
Yeah,
just go online?
Yeah, just go on YouTube. Like that. So that's what I've done. I love the idea of you being able to bash out Vanessa Carlton. But also, it is a tune, isn't it? Like it is kind of one of those one song that sort of everyone loves.
It's cheesy, isn't it? But it's like good memories for me. Like I used to take all my boys. First time I started doing okay at football, to take my boys to America, and we had to Vegas and stuff, and that tune was always playing.
I feel like Vanessa Carlton, 1,000 Miles, is the kind of song that if everyone embraced it, could be a good. Welcome back to the pub song. Do you know what I mean? Like a song you put on the jukebox. Good sing along.
It's a tune, but no one really knows the lyrics. When I do it, I go like, making my way downtown, just doors and homebound. If I could fall into your sky, I think time would pass me by. Oh, 'cause you know I'd walk 1,000 miles if it could just be you. If I could just hold you
Go, Chris.
tonight. Oh, he's gone late. This is so shit.
Crouchy, I think you have got 10 weeks. And then when we do Crouch Fest 2, when we're finally allowed to meet in large numbers in venues, Chris, who should open Crouch Fest 2? Carlton!
Yeah, because think about it. It's if you can nail that song, you can walk into any bar, any restaurant, and look like a competent piano player.
But it's tricky, but it's not, you're telling me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's totally achievable.
Looks
it
good.
sounds like it's unachievable, that song, but you've just heard me play, right? I've learned that in a few days, and that sounded bang on. Is it me or Vanessa Carlton? Well, you wouldn't know unless you saw me. And what, Tom? What have you been up to in lockdown? Then I mean, we do have to address this. I've seen you popping up on a few podcasts as well. It's I've seen the old cycling one is up and running as well.
Yeah, well, you boys know how I feel about cycling. And I know during the first lockdown, both of you secretly got into cycling in quite a big way.
True.
And you began to feel it. So, yeah, I've been doing a little bit of that as well.
You are right, actually. I've got into cycling a little bit. Crouchy, I saw someone tweet you. This was genius. Someone who's done a cycling route.
Yeah.
But it's, you know how you can get these apps where you look at the route afterwards,
Yeah.
and it shows you the kind of, obviously, the line of where you've gone around a map, and they've done it in the shape of you.
It was amazing. Literally, he went past the Samrat.
So it was the places as well.
It was in, if you look at the picture, it's in Ealing. My primary school, my secondary school.
That is a bit weird, actually.
The Samrat.
Your mum and dad's?
And all round sort of like where I grew up.
That's really weird. I didn't know it was that. I saw the tweet and saw that it was in the shape of you, and that impressed me enough. I didn't realise he'd also gone to visit the places as well.
So he's managed to combine both visiting all those places and yet make the outline look like you.
But I will say this, with my head of advertising, if you can spell out like piss off Carl on a route, get that up on socials. I want to see more of these.
Spell some words out.
Past the pod would be nice, wouldn't it?
Go big, do a sentence. Mike Dean slaughters chickens.
We're just trying to write slaughters.
I reckon someone out there could do a run that spells out Mike Dean slaughters chickens.
Dean slaughters chickens. That is the challenge that we're laying down.
Mad respect, because to me that sounds impossible, but it seems to be able, like they've managed to draw you, and I don't understand how they've done it.
That is amazing.
Crouch going for the spectacular! Oh, what a goal from Peter Crouch!
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
So this particular episode is called That Milestone episode.
What would you say is, in your career, your favourite milestone? 100 goals?
When you see the 100 club, I think only players who played in football to get 100 is 23 or 24, saying I'm sort of in that club. Like, that was something that I really wanted to get in. All my idols are in that list, you know. Like, for me to be sort of in amongst it somewhere, it's probably the biggest milestone there.
Of all the things that you can end up with at 40, that is a pretty good thing to
It's
end up
massive. I've not scored 100 goals
ever
in general. I don't think.
No. What are you up to? What are you up to?
Your career?
Did you say?
Well, it's annoying, isn't it? I think I've said this before.
Not
Like,
even
you
a
don't really
pin
get the
stars.
life stats. But 100.
Maybe the shin pads are weighing you down.
Shut up. I can't wear shin pads anymore as well, so my game's a lot more unsafe.
Yeah, it's unsafe, yeah.
I can't wear them anymore because everyone targets me now, thanks to you.
Can't wear them anymore.
Crouchy, we obviously have had a lot of emails, as you know, because you stay across all
I
your
love emails. I love them, Tom.
Joe has emailed into us to ask, from the following players, Peter Crouch, select your best midfield three. Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Beckham, Xavi Alonso, Iniesta and Fabregas.
Midfield three.
Wow.
My three is Gerrard, Iniesta and Scholes.
The Lamp's not making it.
Gerrard's just pipped him for me.
Has he? So you wouldn't pick the two together? You would end that long-term argument?
Crouchy's ending the argument now.
No, I don't think. I think it's one or no. I think
This is a
they
hard
can,
question.
I think they can play together, but this is hard. You know, what I mean, they're all. You take any of them.
What we wanting from the three here?
I just feel like Gerrard's the best player I've played with. Scholes, possibly the most naturally gifted footballer England's ever seen. I mean, could do anything. Could play deep if I asked him to. Could play behind the front. Could play up front. Play on the right. Play on the left, and still be the best player on the pitch. Iniesta, I just thought was just a beautiful, graceful footballer. Had absolutely everything, and I just think those three would complement each other so well.
Do we need a defensive midfielder in here? Is this going to be more of a sort of a 4-1-3-2?
Yeah, but I mean, there's not many defensive midfielders there, are there? I mean, you could have Alonso or Xavi sitting, and that would be the only argument, I think.
The only one you've not mentioned there at all is Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah, I love Cesc Fabregas, like, you know, incredible. But that, for me, I don't think. Would you argue with that, Tom? Gerrard, Scholes, and Iniesta?
Do you know what? I'm hugely impressed with how decisive you've been on that one, on Joe's question, and made what, for me, Chris, about you, is a super coherent argument as well.
Well, I actually think it's the right answer, personally. Also, he's showing flares of manager brain now, isn't he?
It's
not just
is this turning 40? Is this
having
the
to go
first sign
against
of
your
it?
mates? It's now. I need to think of this from my manager's point of view. Isn't that right, Crouchy?
No, mate. You asked me a question and I answered it. There was no. I didn't go and put my baseball cap on or get a suit on. Just some of the greatest players we've ever seen, and you know, it's amazing that I've been able to play with 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And Iniesta's, you know, obviously a big fan as well. So
Massive pal.
yeah.
It's have you given any thought, if you were to be a manager, who your number 2 would be? Especially if you stick with them long term. I always like to see that. I've always had an element of respect for the Hodgson Lewington kind of setup.
There's always
things,
a classic, isn't there?
Yeah, you know, you've got to have your number 2, haven't you? I think he's someone you trust, isn't it? You've got to have someone you trust.
Yeah.
Sean Derry, I always thought, would be my number 2.
Would he be your attack dog as well? You could be Nice Crouchy and he could be Sean Derry.
Yeah, you know, definitely. I think he'd be, you know, he's in coaching now. He still coaches. I think he'd be, and he's been a number 2. He's been a manager. But yeah, like if I got a job, I'd take him in, I reckon.
It's a great question, that, Chris. It's like a football best man, but different, isn't it? Like, who would you go for, Chris?
I don't know. Like, the thing is, for Crouchy, is perfectly achievable that, you know, he needs to consider who his number 2 is going to be. I mean, I would just need someone remotely competent in the world of football. You know, if I'm the manager, I need someone fucking good at number 2, don't I?
That's good at number 2,
and they're running the show. No, it's great. This is why I love people's emails on the podcast, because I think they just throw out these questions that get everyone thinking. So send them in. If you've got any questions that you'd like us to discuss, you can email us. Crouchy, what's the email address?
It's peter.crouch@bbc.co.uk.
Sweet.
Crouchy's done the robot again because it's 100 Premier League goals for Peter Crouch.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
Crouchy, you have celebrated quite an important birthday.
Yeah, I had my 40th over the over this lockdown period and stuff. Yeah, whilst we haven't been doing the pod, so we haven't been able to talk about it. But yeah, it's just one of those where you just try and go unnoticed, really, but didn't go too well.
You got a nice little video montage. I know Chris and I contributed a little clip.
I thank you for your messages. That was great.
No worries at all. But who? I mean, was Prince William on it? Who was on there?
Bex was on there.
Good message, was it?
Yeah, lovely message. Just
message.
You know,
yeah. I don't know.
Happy birthday. Give me a little bit of stick.
It must be interesting for you getting all these messages from people and hearing the one thing that they connect with you.
I'll be honest with you. I got quite emotional, you know, because you see all like my old pals. My mate Herman, he went down to the Samrat. Mr. Islam singing "Happy Birthday" to me. It's honestly, it's something to behold. Dion sent me a lovely message. Yeah, Dion was involved.
Capello?
No Capello.
That would have been a great get, though, wouldn't it?
Imagine him.
Have you seen that? This isn't a spam. You can basically pick a celebrity and then get a video message from them. And you can get them to say any old shit. So you pay them 20 quid. you send an email and say like, right, I don't know, happy birthday to my new girlfriend or new boyfriend, whatever. Capello would be amazing on that, wouldn't he? I would, if there was anyone I could get a birthday message from, would be Capello.
Because he'd look so angry, Chris, wouldn't he? Like, he would never. He would do the words, but he wouldn't really enter into spirit. It'd still look disgusting.
So was the video the main gift, or did you get something special from Abby? Talk us through it.
I got a song from Ed Sheeran.
Did
you? He done
a Crouch specific one, or just one he tossed off?
Yeah, he was like,
that's a lazy present, isn't it? But it's still quite cool.
Well, I thought it was amazing. I mean, he's recording his album at the moment, and amazing.
Any good?
What was the song?
Just a happy birthday kind of song.
He just sang. Hang on, did he just sing Happy Birthday?
No, he wrote a song that was good.
Was it based on Galway Girl?
No, it wasn't. No.
Was it reversioning another song?
It was a song that we know, but he changed the words. Yeah.
You're not
Who was the
giving
most
any more
surprising
away,
one?
Are you? This is annoying.
Well, that was surprising. Yeah. The Samrat one tickled me.
You keep coming back to the Samrat one. It's mental. Ed Sheeran's written you a song for your birthday, and you keep coming back to the Samrat.
It's Mr. Islam singing Happy Birthday. It's stuck in your mind.
This is great. Bex has sent you a message. Ed Sheeran's written you a song, but Mr. Islam said Happy Birthday, and that's the real win, isn't it?
Stevie and the Folded one. That was quite nice. That one. Tony Pulis was brilliant.
Oh,
Harry and Jamie's one was fantastic.
Shit, it's like Band-Aid, isn't it? It's great. This.
Birthday Band-Aid.
No, well, I played with a lot of people, to be fair. Oh, there's a few goals in there and stuff.
Yeah.
God, it's all very reflective, isn't it?
That's what it is. It's like, it feels like sort of the end a bit. You know what I mean?
Does it feel like a big milestone to you, that?
The way I look at it is, I've had like the best life up to now. Like it's been incredible. And people say, oh, what do you want to achieve now? And what do you want to do? And I feel like I've achieved my dreams. You know what I mean? Like I dream of playing football, and then I achieved that. And like now I'm just doing things because I find them fun. I haven't really got a goal because, and it sounds mad, but I've done all those.
But do you have to? That's the thing. Like, do you have to have a goal? Like, is it just that for your whole life, you've had that and you've had to move up through the ranks of a football? Like, do you ever think you don't have to have that?
Yeah, I could have achieved more, but I could have achieved a hell of a lot less as well. So I feel grateful for sort of the life that I've had so far. And
you could right those wrongs, couldn't you? I mean, why have you thought about getting into bowls? And then we work up through the ranks again. We go again, back stronger.
We go again.
Bowls.
Not bowls so much, but I haven't played much football since I retired. I really haven't. I played the odd five-a-side.
Could you still cut it, do you think? What level could you still cut it at?
I don't know, because I haven't played an 11-a-side game since I retired.
I want you to work out which international team in the FIFA World Rankings you think you could do a job for, okay? Now, are you all right if I just biff off the top 20? Right. If I go down
Vanuatu got a team.
Vanuatu.
That would be a great sign-in.
Can I play for Vanuatu?
So the bottom ranked team at the moment in the FIFA World Rankings, 211th in the world is San Marino. Vanuatu 166th in the world.
Are they?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot below Vanuatu.
Hold on, so Vanuatu aren't bad then, really, are they?
They're decent. Yeah, they're decent.
This is what we should do.
Vanuatu.
I think don't play 11-a-side again until it's Vanuatu. It's Vanuatu or nothing. Look, that's an Amazon Prime series in itself, isn't it?
Vanuatu or bust, the Peter Crouch story.
That's good.
I'm up for it, mate. I'm up for it.
Can we not just get you into, what's their big team? What's their top four? Tom, do you know you're good with stats?
I don't know if there is a domestic league in Vanuatu.
Well, we didn't know it existed until...
We had a listener in Vanuatu, didn't we?
We said, where the hell is Vanuatu?
So you've got two ways around this. So you can either go and live in Vanuatu for the qualification period. I'm not sure if that's 3 years or 5 years, but it's a decent amount of time in Vanuatu. Or could you marry a Vanuatu? Could you divorce Abs and marry someone from Vanuatu?
Married at First Sight show.
Vanuatu special. I've been watching that. Have you been watching that?
I watched one and I was like, it's just insane.
Are you worried you've peaked?
This was a discussion I had. I was like, after 40, it's really sort of down here. Everything sort of goes, you lose your hair and eyesight. You start declining.
think that's from 17 though, isn't it? Like technically, like it's.
Does that mean I've like peaked at some stage before now?
But you might have. Like it's worth. But you could be a Philip Schofield, and you know,
Really?
think about it. You with age, it's as simple as that. You could do.
What
a
does that
Schofield.
mean? I don't know. What do you mean, do a scope? Why?
I would say I'm a sort of 6 out of 10 looks wise, right? But I'm banking on old age being a very good looking older gentleman.
Yeah.
And that's a Schofield.
The prime of my life, like football wise, was probably I was playing at Liverpool, probably, and playing for England. I'd say I was 25, 26. That was the prime of my football life. I wouldn't say I was a handsome man then, but I wouldn't say I'm a handsome man now either. But I reckon I'm slightly better now than I was then.
Since you've met Abby and she's bought all your clothes for you, that's helped, hasn't it?
My clothes situation, possibly before her, was diabolical. I would say.
Let's break it down. Crouchy, what was your best age? What if we're looking back, what would you say was peak Peter Crouch?
Oh, but you know, there's so many periods. That
I know, man.
I love.
Good, though. That's a good thing.
Let's go through them.
People don't like school. I absolutely loved it. You know, not the lessons so much, but when I got into my professional debut at QPR, right? It's my local team, West London, where I grew up. Best feeling in the world. And then moved to Portsmouth. First time I move away, so even that's a buzz. You know, I've got a flat on the marina, good money now. Sean Derry and Courtney Pitt, they were my boys down there, and we had a great time down there. Then I went up to Birmingham Villa, best times ever. I mean, I can't even tell you how good Villa was. I absolutely loved it. Football wasn't so good.
What was so good about that? I saw an interview with you with Jack Grealish, and it felt like there was almost a coded message at one point where he was saying, "Oh, I've heard some great stories about your nights out, Crouchy." So these legendary stories are passing down through the generations of that club, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. I was always dedicated, but I enjoyed it when I could. So on Saturday night after a game, there was a good group of lads. Lee Hendry had a good group of boys. Gareth Barry, J. Lloyd Samuel, Darius Vassell, Dion Dublin was like my sort of father figure in a way. He looked after us. Just a really good dressing room for me personally, and I had a great time up there. Really enjoyed it. I just couldn't. I wasn't ready for the Premier League, if you know, football wise.
So if you could jump back, Crouchy, now you're 40, if you could jump back into any age and you had to choose one, which age would it be?
Yeah, see, I think 2006, 7, playing for Liverpool and playing for England. You know, we're having a laugh, and you know, it doesn't get much better than that, really. So I'd probably say that was my best time, but then I'm going to say the QPR days as well, because it was just so new. You know, when you're a young kid and you have no idea where you're going to be or if you're going to make it even. And I was happy with a career in the Championship. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say, I knew I was going to go on to big. I had no clue. I would have been more than happy staying at QPR for the rest of my life and never playing the Premier League. And that would have been an amazing life. But then to go on, you know, for the way it went was amazing, yeah.
I was intrigued about what Jack Grealish was insinuating when he talked about the nights out he's been hearing about you at Villa, right? And I asked around a couple of people about this because I was like, new podcast coming back. I need to. There's some things that I'm keen to explore this series. And I don't know any more about this because they wouldn't tell me any more. So I want you to fill in the gaps. What's this story about someone pretending to be a dog on a night out?
Where have you been fishing for these?
Yeah.
We were in London, but we were God, where do I go with this? So we're in London, but we'd stay down after a game. 2 particular players that you know stayed down with me, and a couple of pals. It was a long time ago.
So it's Lee Hendry and Gareth Barry then.
I don't think they'd mind me saying their names. Yeah, it was them. And yeah. So we just had a night out, and then the next day, about 12, sort of 1 o'clock, we played a drinking game, and whoever lost had to go around the whole pub and pretend to be a dog. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not proud of it.
Can you just clarify, when you say pretend to be a dog, What are we talking? Going around on all fours, barking, drinking
Yeah,
water
all
from a bowl,
fours,
cocking a leg
barking.
against the bar.
There was a cocking of leg. There was no urine, but there was a cocking of the leg. But there was
Who was
someone
the
from
dog?
Yeah, who's the most convincing dog? Chris, who would you say? What would your guess
It was
be
more
out
like
of?
it was more like a Chihuahua because it was like I thought it was going to be quite a butch dog, but it was really feminine, and it was like strutting around like a bit like cat-like almost. But then we didn't know, but there was someone that the manager knew in the bar who had called him, and all of our phones started blowing up saying we had a meeting with Graham Taylor on the Tuesday when we were back
What a
in.
meeting! What a
How did
meeting!
that go?
So Graham Taylor's called you in, and he's got to discuss you acting like dogs.
Well,
Yeah, I
no,
mean, how did he
we weren't all acting like dogs. There was the one person who lost the game had to do it.
So Lee Hendry's the dog.
Who's the dog, Crouchy?
I can't remember who the dog was now.
Okay, so Lee
So
Hendry's the dog.
don't start this because we'll dig every week until the dog is revealed. It will be the new Masked Singer on this podcast.
How does Graham Taylor initiate this conversation?
It just said we were behaving like idiots, which we were, and he called me and Lee Hendry in, and he said to us, what, this is a disgrace. What are you playing at? And we were like, yeah, I'm, so sorry, it won't happen again. And they were like, he said, why can't you just be more like Gareth Barry? And we said, yeah, we should be. You're right. And I was dying to go. He was fucking sitting right next to us the whole time that we were there. Well, we couldn't drop Gaz in it, but Gaz was the golden boy.
I got a question for you. Now that you're 40, right, and you said that you haven't played 11-a-side since. If you were to, say, take your Peter Crouch brain, right, and put it into a current Premier League footballer's body, who would it be?
Oh,
His spirit moves from, his body, his withered 40-year-old body to a younger.
And
I'm joking, obviously.
Does he do like a
But
full spirit swap? So the young athlete inhabits Crouchy's aged physique.
It's the Lion King. He is the old lion. He holds out the small cub, and that is the young Premier League player which Crouchy will name.
Oh, okay. Character that I'd like to. Yeah, okay.
It's like you're anointing your successor.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's it.
With regards to character-wise, like I like the boys like a little bit, like Grealish and Maddison at the moment are probably the two players I like to watch in the Premier League, and I like to hear them speak. They're interesting characters. Do you know what I mean? Like people like Grealish, for instance, absolutely loves football, good character. And Maddison's interviews the same. He's honest. He's refreshing. So yeah, I'm enjoying them at the moment. But if it's me to play in one of the avatars, I think Raheem Sterling, just a bit of pace would be nice.
Would the only danger, Crouchy, be, let's say you have a week of having the pace of Raheem Sterling or Marcus Rashford, would the issue not be that when you return to your actual body, that you would feel like twice as slow as you did before?
But like as Chris said, I'm withered and I'm 40 now.
I'm joking.
So
Come on.
I'm fucked anyway.
Listen, Raheem Sterling couldn't get Abby Clancy, could he? So there you go.
I don't know.
Don't say that.
I'll ask her. I'm just thinking, I'd love to have a bit of pace, like Son even, or I've never had it, you know what I mean? It's always been a hindrance and it's a ball ache, it'd be a lot easier if you're just quicker. But with him, it's not just his pace, he's got so much ability and he's got the world at his feet, hasn't he? So if I could just go in and be someone, it'd probably be him,
Do you think your brain in Sterling's body would improve Sterling?
No, not really.
No.
I don't think he needs me really in any way, shape, or form.
Doesn't need you. No, he doesn't need you. No. We'll move on.
Certainly wouldn't want my withered 40-year-old body.
Yeah, that's how we flip it, isn't it? I mean, what would you be like with Sterling's brain? It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it?
What would he be like in my body though?
He would be
That's what I'm
trying to
saying.
move like he usually could move, wouldn't he? So he would start his runs at the time where he would ordinarily be able to get in the box, and then he'd just be thinking, "Fuck, I'm still approaching the penalty box."
Imagine how late you get in the box.
But he'd never feel like he has to jump, would he? Like, that's the other side of it. It's just like ridiculous question.
I don't really understand the question. You said to me, "What you're going to go and be a player." So I put myself in one of the best players in the Premier League.
No, that's fair enough.
With pace, because I wanted to experience it.
It's a flawed question, but it's one that we've tried to commit to. It's a flawed question.
I don't really know where I'm going with it. There's no one that looks like me.
My fault.
Definitely not. I don't think. Yeah, it's a shit question. Let's move on.
That Peter Crouch podcast from BBC 5 Live.
Hello again, Fiona Bruce back again. Now, Crouchy, you may have heard that I recently featured in a Dear Deirdre letter. Somebody wrote in complaining about their partner, wanting them to pretend to be me. Anyway, I want you to come up with a footballer Dear Deirdre. Make sure it involves at least one of these characters. Choose from Parched, Nico Cranchar and Fabio Capello. Can't wait to hear what you come up with. See you soon.
Capello.
Amazing. What a great first question.
So I'm completely flabbergasted. And Fiona Bruce saying the words Nico Cranchar and Parched is throwing me off. Please, is this true?
So what this was, boys, a woman wrote in to Dear Deirdre, the agony aunt in The Sun, long-term agony aunt, to say that she pretends to present the news during sex at her boyfriend's request. And he likes his partner to introduce herself as Fiona Bruce.
So he's got his missus to pretend to be Fiona Bruce.
To be Brucey, yeah.
Wowza.
So I think,
but she sort of embraced it, hasn't she? She heard about this and she addressed it and she thought it was very funny. So now I think this seems to be the crux of her question: is you need to come up with your own Dear Deirdre involving the three players. I'm
Crouchy,
not sure, but
if you want a little steer on this, Crouchy, right, I'll give you a couple of classic Dear Deirdre style scenarios. The sort of thing people might write in would be, I'm seething after finding out my partner's family branded me a gold digger. Or, my reputation as a bad boy with a criminal past could cost me the woman I love.
But you've got a tricky job here because you've got to do this around Parched, Capello,
Nico Cranchar and Capello.
Cranchar as well.
Yeah.
So who do you want to choose out of those three, first of all? Make it a bit easy for you. Who are you going to choose?
Why am I taking this so seriously?
I don't know.
No, I just looked at you and you were like, you're deep in thought thinking, right, what it could be a fantasy around.
But that was like you were actually
Fabio
on question
Capello.
time.
It stumped me, this one. My problem with this whole thing is that I don't think it's okay, really, to pretend to be someone else. I get the whole,
in the bedroom.
You know, like be a school teacher or a nurse or a pilot or a whatever. To actually be a person, not right. You can't
Peter Crouch.
You can't make your missus go. It's all right to have fantasies, but you can't. Your missus came in and said, "Right, I want you to be the Rock tonight." Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who it is. It's not. I don't think it's correct to have an actual person. I think a role, room service, or
Room service.
or I don't know. Like,
Give us another example.
Cop. Don't arrest me.
Yeah,
I will arrest you. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't Capello lend himself nicely to that then? So football manager, I need to play you in a different position. That sort of thing.
You're right, Chris, because he's sterner as well, isn't he? He's more authoritarian, so that works.
Crouchy, I want you to be Fabio Capello
in the bedroom.
In the bedroom, please.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Abby is coming.
This fella's won everything. I can't pretend to play him in the bedroom. Don't try and get me doing accents. I hope, it's tough on that. I can't really answer it. I'm so sorry. It's just blown my mind, the whole thing.
All right, Crouchy. Well, you started off Series 5 by being stumped by the question from our guest and answer. Chris, I think we should let him get away with this one, but I think that's it now. I think you have to answer all subsequent questions that we have for our guest and answer. Chris, is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think if you're sort of passing on this one, aren't you, Crouchy? So everything else you're going to have to commit to.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna pass on this one. But great question.
That Peter Crouch Podcast from BBC 5 Live.
It's that time again where we've got to advertise another podcast on BBC Sounds. It's our favourite bit, lads.
Hold on a minute.
We've got to do it. So fair play to the Rugby Union Weekly podcast, who've got themselves first slot in the series. Every week you get Chris Jones, Ugo Monya, Danny Kerr.
Why are you
It's
reading
true.
it?
Why have I been asked to do this?
Crouchy, sure,
It's just my job now,
perfect.
isn't it?
Just zip it.
They should come on. If they want to advertise on our podcast, they should come on and talk about their podcast. They should speak about it.
It's true. I don't know if I can necessarily sell these other podcasts. Just me saying it. Do you know what I mean? It's probably far better that someone comes on and does it themselves if they want to, and if they don't, then we won't do it.
Yeah, listen. If you're up for coming on the podcast, you can sell it yourself. Chris has done a terrible job.
I'm really sorry. Yeah, that's the thing. It's probably a great. I just haven't heard it to be able to sell it. Anyway, that's that podcast. Hopefully, it's the advert that they wanted. Apologies if it's not.
That's a scandal. That.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts. Radio podcasts. Radio podcasts. Radio podcasts. Radio podcasts. Radio